Okay, red FN2 in the house, and we have spent the morning modifying this one. So it's had a manifold, a sports cat, and a catback system, and now it's up on the dyno. We've strapped it down. It's time to do an initial power run. So here we go, another Dynodaze video. Cold.
It's cold.
Why are you
dressed up like a snowman?
Because it's cold out here and you're in here in the warmth.
Yeah, but you're making out like that. But I've been out and I've fitted a manifold and a sports cat and an exhaust on this car and done plugs on it. Still in my t-shirt out there.
Mate, do you know how cold it is out here when the extraction fan is sucking harder than the blowing fan and it's just sucking cold air into the building from outside? I'm stood out in it. I'm going to moan.
You're not crying.
I'm going to speak to my union.
You're not crying at me, mate, when I've spent 3 hours out in the workshop working in a t-shirt and then you look like an Eskimo and you're moaning because you've been out of the office without a heater on, I might add, for 2 minutes and now you're moaning you're cold.
I'm going to speak to my union representative.
I think if you turn your heater off and you climatise in the morning, you wouldn't be moaning now.
Who is my union representative?
I don't know.
Is it Gary?
It might be Gary.
Limited edition Gary.
Gary, artist formerly known as Dave.
That's a long story.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in an FN2 and we are proceeding to write a race ROM to the ECU so that we can tune. Using the standard ECU, the Ecutek software, these are getting on my nerves. So at this point forward, it's time to tune. So Rich is taking the laptop and he's going to do that, and I'm going to go and stand in the cold.
Oh, you'll let me cry in a minute, mate.
I would cry, but my tears would freeze on my face.
I think you're being a little dramatic. Nothing unusual there, though.
Mate, what a sick day.
You're not having a sick day. In fact, you're not even having a day off.
I've got to find a union representative. He's not interested, is he?
No, I'm not interested. I'm not even talking to you about it.
I'll go stand out in the cold then.
Get your barrel out, mate. Start burning some wood.
Get the barrel out? That sounds a bit rude.
What I did in the 80s, you know what I mean? Get a
stand round it.
Stand round it in the cold outside. You notice they always went on strike when it was freezing. Why was that? Why would you not go on strike in the summer when you can stand outside in the sun?
I don't know, mate. It's a good question, though.
Yeah, it is a good question, ain't it?
Here we go, FN2, matte.
Red FN2.
Red FN2, Milano reddish.
Yeah, reddish FN2.
Yeah.
No, lovely car to be fair, really nice.
Yeah.
Generally clean and tidy, nice alloys on it, nice front rear bumper, it's a nice model to be fair.
You've done some work on it today as well?
I have done some work on it today. We fitted a TypeR manifold and sports cat.
Yeah.
Coupled with the M2 system.
Yeah, 2.5 inch.
Yeah, 2.5 inch. I mean, I'm going to give an honest review on it. I think for keeping, like we said before, so you have a manifold and a sports cat so that you can keep yourself legal. TypeR's the way to go. Totally don't disagree with that. It's not the best for power, but then anyone that wants to keep their car legal and everything, then they understand that obviously they're going to have some sort of flow restriction due to a cat, and that's fine, not a problem. like we talked about before, the O2 sensors can be a little bit close with the heat shield still fitted. Certainly with the Sports Cat, they are quite close on the second O2 and can knock on the floor, which is not necessarily ideal. I mean, obviously, if you're mapping, you can remove the second one, so it's not really a major problem. The first one's generally okay.
We notified Piper.
We notified Piper and asked them about rotating them slightly round. Obviously, they've got stock at the moment, so there won't be any changes initially, but obviously they're looking to clock them round. I'm just talking from a fitting point of view, though, you know what I mean, from a fitting standpoint. Just basically push up the heat shield and obviously remove, bend it around the O2 sensor, which gives you a little bit more clearance. That's fine. That's all sorted. The M2 system is not the best system for fitment. It takes a little bit of fettling. We've sort of got them down to a sort of T now, where they really seem close to the tunnel. They want to sort of be a little bit longer off the cap to push them more into the centre of the tunnel as it runs down the side of the car. They're really, really close to the inside of the car, which then, by the time you've got the 2-bolt flange, which is quite large, that then rattles on the inside edge of the floor.
But again, with another video that's coming up shortly, I've actually gone from an M2 system to a Teguo 70 mil this week.
Yeah, you have done that this week.
And everyone needs an extra inch, don't they?
Yeah, so even in that...
But that's because I've got a Jap speed manifold.
Yeah, Danny got the Jap speed manifold, not the Teguo manifold. So if you've got Teguo manifold, Teguo 70 mil, they fit, no problem, fit beautifully. If you've got the Jap speed manifold, they don't fit. Even in this instance as well, we got Piper and then mixing with M2. We fitted Piper and Piper and they've not had a problem and it's fitted nice and not knocked on the floor. I think generally, the consensus with the FN2s is whatever manifold you buy in, stick with the exhaust that matches it. So obviously, if you go,
it makes it easier if you fit it.
It makes it certainly easier fit
because obviously here we've added an extra inch because we've got the ability to do.
Yeah, we're making modifications.
By the way, that's how you. I don't want to spoil the next video, but I'm in love with my new exhaust.
Yeah, so I think the best advice you can give is if you're fitting if you're fitting Piper in this instance, I fit Piper exhaust. If you were fitting Teguo, fit Teguo exhaust. Just for the simple reason that they seem to all fit when that's the case. When you're intermixing them, they tend to not fit. So like in Dan's instance yesterday, we had to add a little bit to the exhaust. In this instance today, we've had to cut a little bit off the side of the flange to make sure that it clears the floor.
Rich had to lend me an inch.
Yeah. I've had to cut a little hanger, I've had to redo that. Today I've had to bend a few in different directions to make the M2 fit, which is all fine, but I'll be brutally honest, this is still rattling on the floor. When I drove it onto the dyno, I heard it rattle on the floor. If that's the sort of thing you can't stand, like Dan, he instantly moans at me about it if he's got a rattle on one of his own cars. If you can't stand it, then you've got to match your exhausts up with your manifolds to basically start from happening. But this car, obviously, we didn't run it in standard form. We ran it once we'd fitted the mods on it. It ran 219. We then peak 219 peak. Obviously, then when we tuned it, it made 221 peak. So only a couple of brake horsepower when you're talking about peak, but we made mid-range gains throughout the throughout the graph. But obviously, a bulk of the increases, possibly from this car standard, which probably would have been running 203 to 205 this morning, is will come from obviously the mods that have obviously been fitted, and then we've tuned accordingly. I think we would have had slightly better, to be honest, in the mid-range had we have not had the Sports Cat over a D cap.
It's a restriction.
But it's a restriction.
And it's illegal.
Yeah, and we're tuning for what we've got.
That's right. Still got his feature maps, so he's still got switchable maps.
Yeah, he's still got
all that launch control,
flat foot shift,
all the good
auto
bits.
blip downshift. He's still got all the bits that you expect from obviously having the map. I think the car's done really well. I'm happy with 221. That's not anything to be sniffed at at all.
Yeah.
And obviously the car can go further if you choose to.
Certainly can.
Right.
Should we have a look at the graph?
We will.
Should we have a look at the graph?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at the graph. Okay, so as we always say, red line is as she came in, blue line is as she leaves. And as you can tell, we've extended the rev range, lowered the VTEC, made gains in the mid-range, not so much peak gains, but as Richard said earlier, there's a bit of a restriction there. We might have made more power with different mods, but here we go. So we finish on 221 brake horsepower, which is 186 at the wheels. 186 at the wheels, not bad at all. So, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. I've been Danny at Dynodaze. He's been Rich, because he always is. And we'll see you on the next video, won't we, Rich?
We will indeed.
We will indeed.
Before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.